Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Hello again, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, and this is another duly noted podcast. We come to you, of course, presented by Titan MRI, and we love old Joe Calori over there. We got to get with him soon, and we come to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios, and appreciate Meldon Law. Of course, Meldon Law also sponsors Coach Spurrier's segment, which we'll be doing again today, and we'll talk about a lot of good things. I did want to, and by the way, on Friday, Tim Brando is going to join us. I love Tim Brando. He's got a lot of opinions, believe me, and it's great to talk to him. So, great weekend. I don't know if you had as good a weekend as I do. I did. I doubt you did. Does that make any sense? I doubt you. I did. Never mind. It was just a great weekend because obviously if you saw it on Twitter, we celebrated our 23rd wedding anniversary, my wife and I, Karen, who is the only reason I'm even here today. And I'm not exaggerating there, but she is. But we had a great day. We went to Prime and Pearl and had a great dinner there. We actually went to see Top Gun 2. Here's my review of Top Gun 2. You ready for this, Evan? It's good. It should win the Oscar for cinematography. It is the most amazingly shot movie, but it's the most predictable movie, which is what Hollywood is, and I get it. It was all about the filming of the planes. It wasn't about, the story was so predictable. So I would give it out of 1 to 10, I'd give it about a 6.5 maybe. 7, yeah, right around there. By the way, we have had people email me about getting Evan mic'd up, so when I'm talking to him, we can have him on, kind of like Paul Schaefer. You'd be just like Paul Schaefer there. You don't know who Paul Schaefer is. And, of course, today, Tammy is actually producing, so we'll see how she handles it. I'm sure she'll do great. She seems very smart and very she knows what she's doing. Saw another movie this weekend. We watched Saturday night, The Hustle, which is a new Adam Sandler movie. It was a little self-serving, just so he could hang out with NBA players. It was okay. I give it another 6. There's 2 6s today. I didn't see a great movie this weekend. Well, actually, I did watch a little bit of The Hangover, so that was a great movie. All right, so I hope you guys had as great. And I did play golf again Saturday, although I'm going to take some time off. I got my foot's kind of sore, so I'm going to take some time off of golf. But it was a great weekend. I hope you had a good weekend too. And of course, we got another one coming up. In fact, I need to talk to you about that because I don't know if you know about next weekend, next Monday. Okay, well, I'll let you know. All right, it is time for us to do the Hand Law starting lineup. And, of course, as you know, the starting lineup is presented by Hand Law, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. And you can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. We appreciate Chris Hand. We texted back and forth about some things this week. There is so much. There's a lot going on, but there's nothing left to watch. It's kind of weird. Okay, let's go with number 1 on the Hand Law starting lineup, and that is the big story, unfortunately, in Gator country is that another quarterback committed elsewhere. They committed to Miami, an arch enemy. Jaden Rashada, we talked a lot about him, and Florida was really hoping to get him. Look,
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash.
We're coming to Florida. Do you really think that Arch Manning would say, I should go to that school that made fun of my favorite uncle ever, Peyton, who was his advisor basically on all this stuff, because nobody knows better than Peyton what he's, how to deal with it. And he took a lot of advice from him, including announcing right after he made all his visits, which is exactly what Peyton did. Yeah, he was going to come here, even though Florida fans have been making fun of him. I'm not blaming Florida fans for this. I'm just saying Arch Manning was never going to come here. They were hoping to get Rashada, but he didn't. And again, there's so much out there. It is sad. It's a sad world we live in, okay? Just leave it at that. But it's a sad world we live in when you can put anything that appears on Twitter is apparently the truth. It's what it is. And now there's this big. I know that there was an interview done with the attorney Michael Caspino, I believe is the way to pronounce it. Could be Caspino. Don't really care. Hope I never deal with this guy. But he came out, was very negative about the Gators collective, saying that it wasn't run very well. Meanwhile, he's also saying that he left money on the table. Well, that means you negotiate an NIL deal, which is against the law, and it's against NCAA rules. So if you negotiate it, and he hasn't signed yet, you can't negotiate till they're on campus. So we'll see if the NCAA's got they're gumming their food right now. They've got nothing. And that's the problem here. They've got no bite. So I don't know what's going to happen. And this again goes back to these stories that you read. Part of the problem with NIL, and there are a lot of problems with NIL. There's a million. There's more than we thought would be. Everybody said it's opening a Pandora's box. No, Pandora is like, hold my beer. We got a better box than that. The whole problem with NIL, or I think one of the major problems, is there's no transparency. You don't really know what anybody signed for. You don't really know what their deal they put together. You don't have that access. The other thing I was thinking about, because somebody put this out there that Miami gave him a $9.5 million deal and Florida offered 11, but he turned it down because he didn't like something. That didn't happen. Look, you never know what the truth really is anymore, but I'm just going to say that never happened. Although I will say this, because I know that Evan and I both like a show called The Boys, okay? And he texted me about it this weekend because the disclaimer made him scared, I think. And it was worth it. But in The Boys, in season 3, what they do is they decide we've been the good guys all this time. The gloves are off. Maybe Florida needs to take the gloves off and just say, hey, we're going to cheat like everybody else. People are cheating out there, and I've said this before. Now, I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying. Follow the lead of a show about rape and murder. Yeah, that would be great if they could do that. I'm just kidding, of course. So we'll see what happens. And, of course, DeMarcus Bowman now is in the transfer portal, what a big deal that was when Florida didn't get him. They put so much into recruiting him. And then he comes here after a year after deciding to transfer, getting in the transfer portal. And now he's going to get back in the transfer portal and probably leave, probably because he wasn't going to play. Saw the handwriting on the wall. I mean, don't get bent out of shape. And if you want to abandon your coach who has never coached a game at the University of Florida already, then that's your prerogative. You know, be what you are. Be a Gideon. That would be the ultimate Gideon. I try not to use that word too much, but I got an email from the king of the Gideons this weekend, who won't mention his name, and that kind of set me off. But unbelievable. Anyway, let's go to number 2 on the hand loss starting lineup, and that is, of course, the Avalanche beating the Lightning last night. Good idea when you're trying to win a big game like that, Lightning. You might want to get a shot off in the first 10 minutes of the third quarter when you're down a goal. They didn't. And give the Avalanche credit. I act like I'm an expert here. I just read about it. I didn't watch it. Although I will say this, the Stanley Cup already has a dent in it. They were celebrating it. It got dented. That cup, the tales it could tell. So, but don't think the Lightning, this is not a dynasty still. You win 2 and then you get to the finals and lose in 6 games. Yeah, 6 games, right? And then if you win it the next year, that's still a part of a dynasty. I mean, they're not going away. Don't think for a second they are. Number 3, we watched the College World Series. I know you guys, a lot of you watched it. And the last team in, which a lot of people keep calling it, and they said it was last 4 in, but who knows? They barely made it into the tournament, ends up winning at Ole Miss. What the thing that cracks me up about it, I will say this. I was showing my Gatordom during this series because I was trying to figure out who to root for, and I'm like, I don't want Oklahoma to be as happy as Florida fans were in 06 to 08 when they won all those championships and it was Titletown. And again, it wouldn't be the same level of that. But if you win baseball and softball, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That is something that's never been done. And I kind of like, and plus those guys were kind of jerks when they were here. At least that was my impression. Again, showing my Gator fandom a little bit there. But so I rooted for Ole Miss, but I really didn't watch much of it. I know Coach Spurrier did. We'll talk to him about that as well. But think about this. All I could think about was Mississippi State fans. They win their first ever national championship in any sport last year in the College World Series. Unbelievable. They're so happy. They didn't even get to last, 364 days until Ole Miss does it, their arch rival across the state from them, and does it again, wins their first baseball championship. They have claimed some football championships. Of course, it's all polls back then. But anyway, they can't even enjoy it very long. Sorry, guys. Number 4, I wanted to talk about this at length, but I'm kind of running late on time. Maybe I'll talk to Coach Spurrier about it. But I do these lists, these Dooley's Dozen for Gators Wire. And the one I did for Sunday got a lot of feedback, and that was the top 12 quarterbacks in Florida history. And it was really hard. And I tell you, the hardest thing was deciding between Tebow and Werfel. Because I'm not going to give – Tebow was a major part, but not the architect of the 06 National Championship, but Leak was the quarterback, and Leak is on that list, and I may have Leak higher than most people would. I had Doug Johnson on my list. Some people were upset where I had Shane. Shane was 7th. Now, he's probably mad at me, too. You could put him 3rd if you wanted to. But I did have Grossman 3rd ahead of Spurrier at 4. A lot of guys had a Spurrier connection on that list. But if you get a chance, go read it. And I'm going to keep coming up with these and all through the summer as we get these. It's talking season, right? And then finally, Wimbledon has begun. I actually watched a serve this morning. I'm flipping around. I get to ESPN. Hey, Djokovic serving. And there's an ace. And he won. All right. I've watched Wimbledon. Again, don't have any dogs in the hunt, but it's amazing because it starts out now. The men's 1st and 8th seed, the women's 6th and 13th seed have been banned from the tournament because they're Russian and because of the war. And this is the world we're living in, and I don't know whether to like it or just be disgusted by it all. It's hard. It's hard you can't talk about sports anymore without bringing politics into it, which I hate. I hate politics. I despise politics. It makes me sick to my stomach too much of the time. But at any rate, so the newly crowned number 1 Medvedev will not be there. And the reason Wimbledon had to do it was because they're not going to give them ratings points, so that's why they kicked them out. So we don't want guys who are, that sounds like the LIV Tour. Oh, kind of the same thing. That's why you can't let them have any rankings in the world golf rankings. All right. So that'll do it for our Hand Law starting lineup. And we appreciate Chris Hand over at Hand Law. We will be back after we take a break with Coach Spurrier and have a lot of things to talk to him about. And again, Tim Brando on Friday. That'll be fun. We always like talking to him. We got all of our great things to get to. Hesser and Kipke, 3 things. Adam's Ribco to go Gator of the weekend. We will make a drawing. We will do a drawing. I've got it right here. In fact, I've got a fancy way of doing it. Robbie will be on the show to do yes, no, where, maybe, and to pick a number that will be the winner of this last segment's Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Picks. I couldn't get it out there for a second. And we will do a Power 5 and a Bottom 3. All of that is coming up and more when you come back. And we'll take a break right now here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another duly noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast. Coach Spurrier is running a little late, I think, so we'll get him. We'll take a break when he shows up, so we can get him all situated and get on our Meldon Law Gator studio or Gator Meldon Law shirts. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, I think what we were talking about earlier. It drives me nuts the way people just can put anything out there on Twitter and everybody goes, well, that's true. For example, that when Texas A&M had their great recruiting class, and somebody said, well, it was a $30 million class. Well, I've talked to a lot of people in the industry who know it's like half that. Okay, they spent $15 million to get a class. If they did it, and they did it without before players got on campus, you're not supposed to be able to do that. So is the NCAA going to come down on them? Is the NCAA is already investigating Miami for this mega booster, this billionaire who has probably set up this other deal? And then you've got these attorneys coming in and talking about people they shouldn't be talking about other schools, shouldn't be talking about offers that were made. There's got to be rules, and I heard Billy Napier in an old interview today, because I was driving in and I put it on the College Football Network on Sirius, and it was an old one. They were actually replaying them like we do sometimes when I'm on vacation, which I do take vacations, not many, but I take them. And it was Billy Napier was the interview, which was great because I'd never heard the interview before, and he was talking about how, we need rules on this thing. We need rules. Well, there are kind of rules, but not really rules. There's no transparency. We don't know what's going on, and I don't know. Can it? I've always said that the NFL is definitely idiot-proof. There's proof of that. The NBA is not idiot proof, and they've had problems before. And there was don't forget, before Magic and Larry Bird came along, the NBA was nothing. I mean, it was just nothing. Major League Baseball is definitely not idiot proof. There's a reason why nobody really watches a lot of baseball. And after last night's Braves game, I may never watch it again. That's a whole nother story. But the point is that, we've got to have some kind of a rules in place so that people just don't go off the rails all the time. And I don't know what the answer is. Like, for example, if you had a salary cap, people would just abuse that. They would say, we'll find some money for you somewhere. They talking about, a salary cap. And I'm like, is this what we're doing in college football? And it kind of makes you think maybe college football isn't idiot proof either, because I know there are a lot of people that are getting turned off by all this. Nobody is saying you shouldn't be able to earn some money and get some money for your name, image, and likeness. Nobody's saying that. All we're saying is you get people involved that don't care about you. They only care about the laundry. They care about the colors they wear, and they really don't care about you. And this is going to be a problem. And I just don't know. Is it possible for college football to push me away? I'm starting to wonder. I really am. It's getting a little bit out of hand. But anyway, it is what it is. By the way, Florida did get a commitment, a defensive tackle from Buchholz, Gavin Hill, who that's a good get. You need to get more guys like that defend off, in the trenches. They got better, but man, Gator Nation's just losing its mind, which they tend to do sometimes, as you well know. All right, so I tell you what we'll do. We'll go ahead and get to our Adams Ribco Gator of the weekend. And at first, I was going to do something else, but then I saw this story. Alex Tosti, who, of course, played for Florida just recently, got his card on the Korn Ferry Tour. So good for him. That's, that's a start to your career. I mean, Tyson Alexander's out there now and doing really well, and guys go from there up to the next level to the real tour, not the other one. I'll get to that in just a little bit. So for Alex Tosti, he becomes our Adams Ribco Gator of the weekend. And starting probably Friday, we're going to do some fun things with the Adams Ribco, because obviously there's nobody really competing. There's occasional track and field and stuff like that. Billy Horschel could win a tournament. But there's not a lot of competition for the next couple of weeks involved with that. So we'll see what happens there in terms of, what will we come up with. I've thought about it, but I haven't thought about it. You know what I mean? Somebody did say that when I fall back, they can't hear me as good. So I got to stay in the mic. Stay in the mic. All right, so that's what we'll do. We'll come up with a great idea to talk about some Gator stuff of the past, because I love talking about it. That's just the way I am. All right, I tell you what we'll do right now. We'll take a break, and we'll come back with more. We got a lot of things to get to, including Robbie Andrew appearance, and for the Big Mills cheesesteaks, yes, no way, or maybe, and the Leonardo's drawing. Robbie will give us a great number. I know he will. It'll be a number of a former great Gator, okay, up to 50. It's as high as he can go. Pick any one. I've got them assigned. Look at that. All the numbers are assigned to different people who've qualified. We got a ton of people that have qualified for the Leonardo's and Millhopper Quick Picks. Let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come back here on another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coaches Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another duly noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What would give you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Okay, welcome back. Coach Spurrier is still running a little bit late, so we'll get to him, and we'll go ahead and get Robbie Andrew on in just a little bit to do our. We talked about doing our Big Mills cheesesteaks, yes, no, where, maybe, and I got some good questions for Robbie on this, and he'll pick a winner in our Leonardo's at Millhopper drawing. But let's go ahead and get to our Hesser and Kipke three things. And, of course, Hesser and Kipke, we appreciate them. Was talking with Ken. He was reminding me of an email he sent me 4 years ago. And I was like, I don't remember responding the way I did. Maybe I shouldn't have. Anyway, he's a great guy, and we appreciate his sponsorship of Three Things. And, of course, Three Things is brought to you by Hesser and Kipke, a law firm based in Hale Plantation, specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklawfl.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920. All right, so on Hesser and Kipke, three things. Number one, and I know Ken's a big baseball fan, and I'm just going to ask him this question, Ken. Should baseball have an NBA rule? And this is the rule. And I read this story in The Athletic. They talked about whether they should or not. I totally think they should. I hadn't really thought about it before. Maybe I should have. In the NBA, you come off the bench and even step a foot on the court when there's a skirmish going on, and you have a major penalty to pay, right? In baseball, you can run in from the dugout. Long sprint. By the time you get there, you're winded because you're a baseball player. The only sport where you can play 162 games and gain weight. Okay. Robbie? Okay, we'll get to him in just a second. I want to finish this up. So think about that. It's crazy that in baseball you can just run in from the dugout and push and shove people, and if you take a swing, you do. Now, if you take a swing, you probably get some kind of penalty. I think you come in from the You come out of the dugout, you should get a 1-game penalty. You come from the bullpen, you should get 2 games suspension. Baseball is a silly sport. It really is. Oh, the tradition is we do this. We all fight for each other. Yeah, it was also tradition that not to have a designated hitter. Now you got it in both leagues. It's also tradition to have bases a certain size. Now you got them bigger. There's all kinds of craziness. Just crazy. All right, number 2, 2 more defections to the LIV Tour, which is my nemesis right now. Carlos Ortiz and Matthew Wolff. Matthew Wolff, of course, prominent young golfer, although he hadn't played well at all, missed 7 cuts this year. And Carlos Ortiz, 118th in the world. But that wasn't the story. Today, the story, I didn't even know this until I saw Brandel Chambly said this, that you're guaranteed, like if you win $2 million for a tournament, you don't get $2 million. That $2 million counts against your guarantee. All right, we guaranteed you $50 million this year. All right, so now we only guarantee you $48 million. So there is, but it's just, so Carlos Ortiz and Matthew Wolff turned tail and ran. Big deal. There's only been one player that has left the PGA Tour that I go, God, I hate to see that. And that's Dustin Johnson. Philly Mick's done. He's got no game left. So he might win one of those. He might beat 3 other guys to win one of those LIV tournaments. Anyway, finally on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things, we have 8 national titles now that it's over for the SEC. So actually 7. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said 8. I think I wrote down 8. But 7 national championships for the SEC with Ole Miss winning. Of course, and here they are. If you didn't know, Florida has won 3, all in track, but they've won 3. It's a track school, man. Georgia won football, the one that matters the most. Kentucky won in rifle, which I didn't even know was an NCAA sanctioned sport. Ole Miss in baseball, and of course South Carolina women's basketball. Those are the 7 of those. There were some other ones though that you may or may not know about, including there was a national champion, club champion in cornhole, in skeet shooting. In fact, there's something that we'll ask Robbie about. We'll see if he'll know who they are. So let's get Robbie on here. Robbie Andrew from the Gainesville Sun. From the Gainesville Sun. You're not from the Gainesville Sun, are you?
Formerly.
It's just there's something about it.
Yeah.
That I have. It comes out of me normal, like to say something like that.
I'm from St. Augustine, actually, Pat.
Okay.
You knew that.
I can't even say do I say I'm from St. Augustine? I'm from Gainesville. I was born here, lived here 10 years.
So you're from Gainesville then?
But I grew up in St. Augustine. My formative years.
What do you consider your hometown?
I don't know. I've lived here more than I've lived anywhere.
Well, I have 2 now.
Yeah, good point. So this is your hometown.
No St. Augustine.
All right, Robbie. Robbie joining us, of course, on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line, and we'll play Big Mills Cheesesteaks, yes, no, where, maybe in just a minute. But, Robbie, before we go any further, you get a chance to pick the Leonardo's at Millhopper winner for this last segment that we've done. And here's what I'm giving it to you. You pick one number, and I know you picked a favorite Gator before, so make it somebody different. I don't remember who that was. But between the numbers 1 and 50, that's how many qualifiers we have. You pick a number, it's been assigned to one of the Gator greats of all time. I just wrote down the numbers of Gator greats and maybe some not so great. But you just give me a number, 1 through 50.
Okay. I saw his picture on Twitter late. Number 50. Brad Culpepper.
Number 50, Brad Culpepper.
Yeah.
It's like George Luttrell is a winner. I don't think George has won. So George has won, and good for him. and I'll get his package to him. I owe Ryan a package still. I'll get them to both of you guys. I promise you. All right. It is time for us to play the Big Mills Cheesesteaks Yes, No, Where, Maybe game. And, of course, the Big Mills Cheesesteaks, street dining done right. If you go there and you say, hey, I listened to the Dooley Noted podcast, they'll go, hey, you get free fries with your order. Hey, it's a good deal. All right, here we go, Robbie. Because I got an email from somebody, and they were questioning whether I'm right about this, okay?
Okay.
Would you, yes, no, where, maybe, ever wear a shirt from another team other than Florida? Because as you know, I have quite a T-shirt collection. I wore my Notre Dame baseball T-shirt all weekend. Would you ever wear one from another team?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Anything to walk in or work out, it doesn't really matter. I'll wear a Gator shirt, but I'll wear anybody else, really. Maybe not FSU, though.
No. And that's the thing. I
Maybe
would
not
never.
Miami.
I would
But
never.
I'd wear like an Alabama shirt.
Yeah, I would never buy it. I would never get an SEC shirt. Alabama would be the closest one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have
I'd walk in a Penn State T-shirt too.
That'd be fine. I did at
Yeah.
one time have a shirt with a big G on it, a Georgia G on it, but it was Athens football drinking town with a football problem. And that was when Ray Goff was there.
That's a good one.
I like that.
Yeah,
shirt.
I'd wear that. I'd wear that.
Unfortunately, it became holier than thou. I had to get rid of it.
Your Pope
right.
collection.
Number 2. In the next 4 weeks, we're 4 weeks away from today, I think, is media day for the SEC.
Okay.
Of course, we won't be 10. In the next 4
Hard to
weeks.
believe it's here already.
I know. You will watch multiple old games that just pop up on TV, games that maybe you have on DVR, whatever. You'll watch multiple ones.
Maybe, Pat. Maybe leaning toward unlikely also, but maybe. But it depends on the game,
There's nothing you can watch from last year, right?
Yeah.
Remember that one year?
I don't have any desire to watch last year's games.
No. Remember that one? I think it was McElwain's last year, maybe, and you and I were both like, another game we got to erase from the DVR before we get home.
Yeah, you went home, and that's the first thing you did, hit the delete button on it.
Exactly. All right. Finally, on Yes, No, Way, or Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. The SEC won some championships in club sports. They won 7 in real sports, okay? But in club sports, yes, no way, or maybe, Missouri won the disc golf championship.
Well, I'm going to say no way.
You are incorrect.
Even though I probably should say yes, because why would you pick Missouri if they hadn't won?
Missouri is your disc golf
question.
champion. Do you know who won
Trick question.
Do you know who won the cornhole championship?
Georgia. Oh, maybe it would be between Tennessee and Georgia.
Yeah, you would think so, but it was Texas A&M. Apparently,
Wow.
they're paying a lot of NIL money to great cornholers out there. So,
They're welcome to the title.
all right, Robbie, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Pat. I just remember when we were at A&M that time, all the fans would say howdy to you
Oh God, it was weird, wasn't
as
it?
we were walking to the press box. Howdy.
Yeah, we didn't know what was that was like what they do out there, and we're like, what? Howdy.
They're a
Howdy
friendly
doody?
bunch.
They were. I don't think they are anymore. They were. Then they got exposed to the SEC, and it changed them. Now they want to hate it. They want to beat everybody.
Now they hate everybody like everybody else hates everybody.
Yep. All right, Robbie, we appreciate you coming on for the Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Yes, No, Where, Maybe, and picking our Leonardo's at Millhopper winner again. George Luttrell is our winner. So we'll get him a prize
Pat, my
package.
pleasure.
All right.
My pleasure, Pat.
I will see you later today.
Okay, Pat. I'll see you out there.
All right. Great.
Okay.
We have a little meeting with somebody today. We're going to have some fun. Yeah. Don't do it that often. All right. I think we need to get one more break in. I don't know what's going on with Coach Spurrier, but we'll find out. And then we'll come back, and the last thing we'll do is the Power 5 bottom 3. when we return. You're watching or listening to another duly noted podcast here on what? What is it on? Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, and it's presented by Titan MRI. That's what I was trying to get to. And, of course, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Spite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another duly noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hope you guys enjoyed the hand law starting lineup today, because there was a lot of things I wanted to talk about with this whole NIL stuff, and I just don't know where I am with it. So I think you kind of can tell my discombobulation with everything. And it has nothing to do with Jaden Rashad, okay? It's just overall. I'm just not sure where we are. I'm not sure where college football is right now. We've talked about this before. Of course, we talked about the Lightning losing. They're done. Their season's over. But, again, this dynasty is not necessarily over just because they lost in the finals after winning 2 in a row. Talked about Ole Miss winning the national title, their first baseball championship, and how Mississippi State could not even enjoy it for a year. But it's amazing to think about, although it really isn't that amazing. I mean, the truth is the state of Florida should have back-to-back champions more than once. Never have. Obviously Miami's won a few. FSU never won any. Florida's won one. It's crazy. But a lot of those kids end up, going to Mississippi schools, and they make the most of it. But again, neither year did we think that either one of those schools were going to win the whole thing. Don't forget, Ole Miss was a 3 seed, last team in, and won the whole thing. But that's That's why baseball, in some ways, is the coolest postseason of all. In football, you know who's going to win, right? You know, first of all, you only have 4 teams that get to the playoff, but you pretty much can name them right now. In basketball, yeah, there's great Cinderella stories. They never last. St. Peter's eventually loses. George Mason eventually loses. They don't last. They're still, look who won the national championship this year in basketball. Kansas. I think they're kind of a brand name. You know, even in softball. Softball really doesn't have teams coming out of nowhere. That Florida team that won back-to-back hardly came out of nowhere. And we know what Oklahoma was this year, and the team that played them in the finals was really good all year. It's all the best teams. In baseball, though, it's just, when do you start playing your best baseball? If you get in, I think more than any other sport, just get in. If you get in, you got a chance to win the whole thing. And I think everybody kind of has to look at it that way. We talked about my quarterback rankings for Gators Wire and about Wimbledon beginning without some of its best players because they're banned because of Russia. All right. And, of course, we did Yes, No Way, or Maybe. No. Yes, No Way, or Rabies. Yes, No Way, or Maybe with Robbie Andrew. And that was fun to do. Robbie and I are going to go out tonight and with Jeremy Foley and have some appetizers. So that'll be fun. Always loved Jeremy. It'd be great to talk to him. And we did our Leonardo's drawing. So we've gotten a lot done on the Hesser and Kipke 3 things I thought was, I enjoyed doing it anyway. Sometimes I don't know if I'm enjoying it more than the fans are. Are they even called fans? Just listeners. Viewers. Listeners/viewers. All right. Let us wrap it up. We're going to wrap up a little bit early today. Again, it's the summer, and we're going to probably have some 50 to 55-minute shows, okay? We've run out of stuff to talk about until we get to media days. And we get to media days, guess what? We'll have plenty to talk about, even leading up to media days. Let us do our Power 5, though, and our bottom 3 for Major League Baseball. We're looking for a sponsor for this. If you're interested in doing it, if you're a big baseball person, let's start off with number 1 is the Yankees, which is amazing because I was hoping that when they got no hit by the Astros the other night, this would be the beginning of their slide. And then the next night, they're being no hit going to the 7th inning. And then they win an extra inning 6-3. And they're all happy and everybody's 31-9 at home. That's impressive. So they're number 1. Number 2, the Dodgers. And I have to give it to them because the Dodgers beat my Braves last night. Braves lead 2-0. They got their closer on the mound. Of course, Jansen, who closed for the Dodgers last year, they were talking about his stats. He strikes out the first 2 guys. I'm like, oh, man, it's great to have a guy throwing 95 with movement, and he can – and guess what? Single, extra innings. Freddie Freeman gets a big hit for him, but the Braves tied up, and then they lose it. Just when I was starting to get back into them. Why do they do that to me? So the Braves aren't in here in my Power 5, but the Dodgers are. That's 2 of 3 from the Braves, and they've got 25 road wins, which they're a very good road team. And again, I think when you have a team that's been around, this is a team that has been around for a long time. A lot of the players, even though they've lost some, and then you add in Freddie Freeman, who knows how to win on the road, although he was so overcome. It was weird. It was a weird dynamic all weekend, where he was crying like a baby, which I don't blame him. I mean, everybody loves the Braves, right? And then to get that big hit, and you could tell he just wanted it to be over more than anything. Number 3, the Astros, who also have 25 road wins. And as much as we may not like the Astros, they are really good, and that's sad. Number 4, the Mets. Braves had a chance to pull within 4 last night if they'd held on and won that game, and did not. And number 5, I've got the Brewers. The Brewers, who I didn't even pay any attention to. I don't know that I can name a Brewers player. Not one. Robin Yount still play for them? Probably not. Sal Bando? No. I don't know I can, but they're 7-3 in their last 10 games and lead the Central Division by a game. Good. I had no idea they were playing that well, so I got them in there. Our bottom 3 is pretty easy. Oakland, 24 games under 500. The Reds, 22 under. I'm going by under 500. And then, of course, Kansas City at 19 games under 500. So as much as I was upset last night with the Braves loss, could be worse. Could be the old Braves from way back when they were losing games all the time. That was when I think a lot of us kind of fell in love with the Braves because they were all we had, and we get every game. And that was what really made me mad last night is I'm watching, I flip it around, I go, oh, I think the Braves are actually on TV tonight, which doesn't happen very often. Well, I don't get Peachtree Network or whatever it's called. And I watch them, and I'm like, all right, they get a run in the eighth, so now it's 2-0 way. And then I go, if this was a college game, I would be really worried, only up 2-0. I go, but this is the major leagues. Closers come in, close these things up. Not last night. And the worst part of it, though, was when Jansen's pitching, his delivery is so slow that you can steal any base you want on him. So the 3 singles shouldn't have meant 2 runs, obviously. They steal whatever base. Go ahead, steal another one. We're not even going to try to stop you. I don't know how that works, but it didn't work well last night. And then the other problem with it is they're talking about the clock coming into baseball. And again, we don't know how long it's going to be next year. A pitching clock like they have in college baseball and the minor leagues. If that happens, I don't think he can pitch. I think he's gonna have to retire. I mean, he takes 20 seconds just to get to his windup. So we'll see what happens there. All right, that is going to do it for today's show. Don't forget, Friday, Tim Brando's going to join us. That ought to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to talk to him. And thank you to Tammy for doing a great job producing. Thank you to Evan for being my rock. And until next time, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep, I am way back, and I am out of here.